What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. This is Jeff Rose, Certified Financial Planner. This is Wealth Hacker Labs, and I've got, believe it or not, a second stimulus check update. For those that haven't been keeping track, the very first stimulus check went out in April, about the middle of April, whenever the taxes were due. It's been 8 months since that first check went out, so roughly about 240 plus days. There have been countless talks about a second stimulus check, and it was very hopeful that those would go out earlier this year. It is now December. I'm not wearing a watch, so I cannot look at my wrist and actually see a date, but I'm pretty sure it's December the 17th, almost the end of the year. Still haven't seen a second check. Unemployment benefits, for the most part, have ran out, and I know many have given up hope. Well, there is now hope, renewed hope, almost like Star Wars. I don't know if that really makes sense with this reference, but there has been talks about a second stimulus check coming. There's been talks about for a while now, and I just want to give you the latest on what is going on. So what exactly is going on? Well, here is what is going on, is that COVID-19 is still here. California just locked down. I live in the state of Tennessee. For the most part, things here are not as bad. My kids are still in school at the time of this recording, and I'm praising God for that one, because we have 4 kids, 3 of which are in school. That would be just not fun. We experienced that for a little while. Remote school, online school. It's not fun. For those that are in it right now, my heart goes out to you, because I know how difficult it is trying to teach your kids school when you got 3 of them and none of them know how to use Zoom. Anyway, whole other story. But here is what's going on right now, is we've got this COVID-19 relief bill. This has been going on for a while. There's been so much back and forth, I feel like I'm watching an episode of Survivor, where all of a sudden you think you know who's going to be voted off on the next tribal council, but somebody has made this deal, has this secret alliance, and all of a sudden all things change, and it's like a day-to-day occurrence. That's what's going on. But whether you love them or hate them, you can go to CNN.com and they'll give you real-time updates on what's going on with this relief bill. Personally, I have better things to do than sit here and watch this to find out what is going on. But nonetheless, here is what is going on right now. So for those that this, the first check that went out, it was $1,200. That's how much people got, whether that was a check, direct deposit, and in addition to that, you also had dependents that also would qualify for that check. Now, with that though, if you were 16, 17, 18 years old being claimed as your parents, you didn't get a check. You were screwed, as many people felt. I know I had a YouTube comment that this young adult felt like that he got the hammer. Even though I was trying to figure out, like, okay, yeah, you didn't get a check, man, but you're still living at home with your parents, dude. Like, you're still living at home with your parents. I don't care if you got a job. You're still living at home with your parents. Who cares? If your parents got the money, that's good. Anyway, sorry. I don't have a lot of patience. Yeah, so living at home with your parents, Anyway, not judging. I'm just saying, maybe we shouldn't be expecting getting a check. So what is going on right now is that there are talks about a second check going in this COVID-19 relief bill. Initially, this was not the case. What they were focusing on was small businesses. They were focusing on other businesses that were struggling. So what they really wanted to focus was on adding the unemployment benefits, adding the unemployment insurance, which at the time of this recording, it keeps changing. It keeps changing right now. We've heard $600 weekly. We've heard $300 weekly. As it stands right now, we're looking at about $300 weekly, which would be roughly $1,200 a month. But as far as how long that is going to be, that is also what keeps going back and forth. We've heard 16 weeks. We've heard 12 weeks. Now we're hearing 10 weeks. Obviously, if a senator, congressman, whoever is, if they are really lobbying, petitioning for a shorter timeline, I mean, that's not going to make a lot of people happy, because while unemployment is still not as bad as it was going back into the March-April timeframe, we are still looking at around, I think, a 6.7 unemployment rate. I had it pulled up. Yep, there it is right now. So unemployment's still the real deal. And if we are going back into another lockdown period where people can't get out, they can't go to work, then obviously unemployment numbers are going to go back up. I don't know if they'll get back to where they were earlier this year, but nonetheless, we can't expect those rates to increase, which means people are going to be in need of some sort of economic compensation. Now, the thing that's very disheartening is about these numbers, unemployment, whether it's the $300, whatever number that's going to be included in this bill, is that when we look at the current, and this obviously depends on where you reside, but this is a look at the average monthly apartment rent in the United States. Now this is going back to 16 up until 2020. And we can see here, and obviously this, if you are paying for rent, if you're renting an apartment or even a home, right now the average rent payment is about $1,400. That's just for the rent. We're not talking electricity. We're not talking about any sort of utilities. We're not talking about Netflix, which I know is not a priority, but nonetheless, you're quarantined. There is you got to account for some money to take care of your sanity, because when you're stuck at home, whether you got kids or not, you need something. So whatever. Anyway, $1,400 is the average rent payment. So if we're talking about an unemployment benefit that's going to be $1,200, cool. We just paid for our rent, and now we've got $200 to buy some groceries and pay for some electricity. And if you're living somewhere where it's cold, right now I think it was 29 degrees this morning, I need to pay for some heat. That's going to run me more on top of my grocery bill. Even that's just my grocery bill. I've got 4 kids, 3 boys. They eat. Do they have to eat steak? No. But nonetheless, it's going to cost some money if we're buying SpaghettiOs, ramen noodles, and whatever else. My kids don't eat tuna fish. I wish they would. It'd save me a lot of money. I do. Whatever. That's just the way it is. So the other part of this, now this is the whole back and forth, which is so frustrating. And this is why I don't like doing these videos, because it changes all the freaking time. So what is really the hard discussion, I don't want to say a hard discussion, but the unnecessary discussion that's going on right now is, okay, so we're going to do the unemployment benefit. Great. Now here recently is when they added the potential for the second stimulus check. And $1,200 was the first one. Now they're talking about it being $600. $600 for, if you are an adult. This also would include your children as well. And the way that's currently written in is if you are one of those adults living with your parents, that you could qualify, but it remains to be seen, is that going to the adult child, or is that going to the household? That is still looking to be worked out. One of the other things is, one of the big issues of the first check was if you were married to somebody with a Social Security, or did not have a Social Security number, wasn't a U.S. citizen, you didn't get a check, not just you, your entire family didn't get any checks. So that is written in where it is protecting those that are married to a non-U.S. citizen, so that's great. But we don't know, once again, how much it's going to be. Right now, we're looking at $600, but there's also some senators, some Congress people that are saying if you qualify for the unemployment insurance, then you're not going to get the stimulus check. This is something that if you are supporting that, not saying you, I'm saying if you are just one of the many Congress people that are supporting that, I think it's a death sentence. I think you're just asking for it, because right now people are frustrated, and not the point where we haven't got a check yet. People are frustrated because we've been going back and forth for like 4 or 5 months. And there were so many times where we thought we were so close to getting that second stimulus check. President Trump, soon to be former President Trump, I forgot his exact words, but, he said that the next check was going to be very generous. I think there was another descriptive word he'd used, but I remember generous was definitely a word that he used. And first, was he being specific on whether he was talking about a stimulus check or the stimulus package? And he ended up clarifying his words, saying, no, the next stimulus check, which didn't come, still hasn't come. We're still talking about it. It's December. It's almost the end of the year. But I know there is a big push to get this done because, right now Congress will be going to recess here pretty soon. So they are really, really pushing this to get done. Is it going to get done? I don't know. I know I was one of the ones that was saying how I was hopeful that the second stimulus check would be issued. Gosh, I forgot. I think I had like an August time frame. August, September, October, November, December. Still no check. Still no check. And I'm not bitter because there is still the phase out limit. So if you make over a certain amount, I think it's like about $100,000 jointly, I believe. If you make more than that, you don't get a check. So I don't get a check. This is not for me. It's for the people that I know that are doing their best to make ends meet. But man, like life sucks right now. It's hard for a lot of people. When they think that things are getting back to normal, wham. We see a spike in cases and we see jobs being shut down, schools being shut down, people being quarantined to their homes that they can't go out and live normal life. So I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated for everybody else that just wants an answer. Yes or no. It's kind of like when I get my kids, like, I just need an answer, yes or no. Or any business partner, I need a yes or no. I don't need, I don't know, maybe, yeah, we'll see, you never know. America, we're tired of it, right? We're tired of it. We just need an answer. So I don't know how much of this is an update for you. I saw a lot of activity, a lot of chatter going on about it. It seems like right now, because of the fact that we have been stuck in limbo for so long, that we might actually see something, maybe. I'm not holding my breath, not crossing my fingers. I'm just going to continue to do what I'm doing, taking care of my family, putting out content that is hopefully helpful, inspirational for you all. If you can take a look at some of the other videos I published, talking about online business, entrepreneurship, investing, that's one of the only ways. You got to take care of yourself. That is one of the ways that you can do it. So be sure to check out the other video here on the Wealth Hacker channel. Until next time, Jeff Rose reminding you that it's your money, it's your life, and only you can make it awesome. Until then, peace.